Now we're good? All right. Well, good morning, everyone, again. My name is Michael Buxton, Director of Operations here at John Knox Village. A little bit about myself. I heard an article came out about me, so I think got a little recap, but I'm a native Floridian, born in Key West, moved to Fort Myers area, Bonita Springs in particular, got a football scholarship to go to the University of Central Florida to play football there, go Knights. Met my wife there my freshman year, so we've been together since there in college. We have 3 kids. While I graduated in 3 years, went on to get my master's degree and did an internship in a CCRC facility in Winter Park. Absolutely fell in love with senior living retirement communities and been in this industry ever since, and been very blessed to have this opportunity and continue to do what I love to do. Before this, I came from Lutheran Haven and worked there for a little over 9 months in Oviedo, Florida. 9 years, I apologize. 9 months would not have been. So we're going to go over majority of assisted living and talk about nursing home. It's a kind of a big overview, but if you have any questions at the end, feel free to ask. So first, we're going to talk about regulatory compliance, because that's kind of what depicts care for a lot of our, for nursing home and assisted living. Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services are what we call the feds, or the federal oversight. They kind of depict the rules and the guidelines from the nationwide. Then you have the Agency of Healthcare Administration, or for Healthcare Administration. They are the enforcers pretty much. We still might have federal oversight, but they have rules as well, thank you, that they particulate, that they enforce through the state. So the Agency of Healthcare Administration is a state regulatory, and the CMS is the feds overall, and they actually have their own set of rules that we have to depict and go off of what is the stricter guidelines in this nursing home setting, and the assisted living setting has just the Agency of Healthcare Administration rules. We have the Department of Health, which has played a major role recently, especially with COVID. They do infection control surveys for us. They do biomedical waste kitchen surveys. They do what in assisted living we call group care licensures, and then they do the pharmacy license as well. Department of Children and Families, Department of Elder Affairs, and OSHA are the main, are some of the mains. And to understand, nursing homes is considered the most regulated industry in the United States over nuclear power plants. So a lot of rules and regulations that we must follow. First off, we're going to talk about Oakview and assisted living. When you look at assisted livings, it is 3 subsidiaries. You have a standard license, and then you have the 3 underneath it that you can have tacked on with your standard license. Limited mental health license, which is mental health. Limited nursing services with limited nursing services when you're at your ALF, and then we have extended congregate care. So here at Oakview Suites, we have extended congregate care license attached with our standard license, and we'll address what does that provide for services if need to be in the assisted living. It's nice to have. Not few facilities have the extended congregate care license on top of it. So demographics nationwide in assisted living. There's about 1.5 million residents in the assisted livings nationwide. In those, 30,000 assisted living nationwide. In the state of Florida, there's 2,400 assisted livings. And we kind of seen a downtick in some of those areas and an uptick in some. And what I mean by that is in assisted livings, there was a big push about 10, 15 years ago of making mom and pop. You'll see a lot of assisted livings came out where there were 3-bedroom house converted into assisted living where they had 4 or 5 residents. Well, after Hurricane Irma came through in 2017, a lot of restrictions came on there with generators and so forth, and we've seen a couple of those close, where bigger ones now are starting to come alive, especially focusing on cognitive and memory care support settings. So there's a change in what assisted livings are and kind of what the image is in the state of Florida. The average resident in assisted living, demographic nationwide, is an 85-year-old female. And the ratio in assisted living is 1 male to 7 females. So pretty substantial. And the average residence or side length of stay in assisted living is 1.75 years. In Oakview Suites, the 1 to 7, we shatter that. We're 1 to 10 ratio right now as we speak. So one male to every 10 female is our ratio currently right now. Of our residents, out of 5, 4 of them come from inside the community, 1 outside of the community. And right now we have about 35 residents in the assisted living. With our average census through last couple of years around 40, with an average occupancy of 71%. Our average length of stay is 1.75. Well, we just had a resident that was in there for over 10 years now that just left, with an average age of 91, which is very impressive. So, like we said in Oakview Suites, our Oakview Suites Assisted Living has a standard license and then has the extended congregate care. Our licensure is a 60-bed licensure with 49 units. And the 49 units are located on 3 different hallways. We have 18 studio apartments, and we have 31 one-bedroom apartments. And each one is those rooms, even though, has a kitchenette area and a full bathroom. Now, when we look at standard assisted livings, they're just the basic care needs, and they're not. Every resident is different, and I want you to understand that. So they might need some of these and might not need any of those, or some of those, depending on. We have a lot of times we might have a couple move in where one couple needs the assisted living and the other spouse does not need much services. So it kind of depends on what every single person is looking for. But a standard license, what they cover is house, meals, personal care services, what we call ADLs, activities of daily living, provides assistance with medications. You can obsess out of that and not need that service if you don't want that. And you're going to get routine nursing care or just monitoring as well, such as vitals, following physician orders, making sure temps and everything else is going well. And there's 24-hour services for that. What our extended congregate care is that it's the highest level of licensure you can have in assisted living. And it's based off the 1980 rules for nursing homes, actually, is what the extended congregate care offers. This allows residents to age in place, additional nursing care and services, and we can provide services. So instead of you have to go to a nursing home to receive that care, or the resident has to go to a nursing home or whatever, we can keep them in-house and provide oxygen management, wound care services, colostomies, other services in additional, so they don't have to go to another level of care, such as Majestic Oaks or services otherwise. We have 2 pretty much basic layouts in our assisted living. It's the studio apartment, which we have 18 of those, and the 1-bedroom is 31. Each one of them has temperature control and safeties. Our studios are very good size studio apartments, and majority of setups will have their bedroom with a love seat, with dresser, TV, all in the one with their kitchenette and bathroom. And the 1-bedroom will actually have the whole size studio with an additional studio attached, would be a 1-bedroom where they have a living room area and a whole entire bedroom. So it's a very large size assisted living. And they have their own separate walk-in closet as well for the 1-bedroom, a whole pantry, and other storage spots in there. So it's a very large in comparison to other assisted livings out there. We're very fortunate on our property for dining services. We have a lot of venue options. So each one of our dining hallways has its own satellite kitchen, which is nice, and it also provides the meals to be hot instead of be shipped around the area. They are served out of one central location. We have a registered dietitian on our property, which is not the most common. So we have a full-time dietitian in the nursing home and over in the assisted living that looks over our menus, make sure its nutritional guidelines are there. Very large, spacious dining room areas. You also have the option of select menus, and you can kind of select what you want. On the other side of those menus, there's alternative menus that you can choose what you like in services, and if you're not happy with them, you can always go to other dining ventures as well. But our food overall has been, we have pretty good food. We provide additional nourishments and snacks, and a lot of other services for food. Our licensed nursing services are available 24 hours, and I think that's the main thing moving to assistant. It's always available and always assisting, being able to assist with care. We also medication management, medication reordering and storage. So during a hurricane, for example, we make sure we review all resident medications and make sure we have at least a 7 to 14 day supply of whatever the case is for their medications. We make sure that we have storage capabilities. We're on full generator in the assisted living, so we're able to make sure we store them appropriately. And when a hurricane does come, power's knocked out, we have full power in those areas. We provide appointment scheduling, but we also try to keep everything in-house for assisted living. So we try to have podiatry come and visit. We try to keep hearing come and visit, dental come and visit to our assisted living. Our goal is for not a resident to go out into the setting, and our goal is to keep as much services in-house as possible. So you're not making travels going to this appointment. The physician or the services are coming to you, not going out. So it's going to be limiting the amount of appointments that you're going out to. But we also will help make the transportation arrangements, make sure that you're on time, make sure you're ready to go, and assist if you need anything for getting ready for those appointments, such as all your paperwork, your history, and everything that is needed. Personal care assistants are there 24 hours a day, and the ratio is about 1 to 8, so it's very high in assisted living, so about 1 staff member to 8 residents. Assistance with showers, we also offer weekly, and we also do linen changes, but if you need that more on a regular basis, we can make that happen as well for no additional charge. Trash removal, meal plans. Just because you live in our community, in assisted living, doesn't mean you cannot go outside and go use the resources out in the common areas as well. So you can go out and go visit the restaurants, you can go to the hair salon. Now you're required to sign out so we know where you are, make sure we can give medications or give you medications before you go out. But there's a common misconception that, hey, just because you're in assisted living, you can't use the amenities out in the area, outside of the area as well. What we talked about before, we also have we try to programming for what the residents like, especially exercise programs, social outings and parties we have. Now that kind of was stopped a little bit during COVID, but we're trying to get back into our rhythm and having a lot more activities outside of the assisted living. Lunch outings, community adventures, resident council. So the residents really kind of depict what they would like to see and what is activities and interests they have as we move along. So we try to really focus on what they want and try to equate to that, such as meal options and food options and activities that they would like. Am I going backwards? Nope. All right. What we talked about before, there's also laundry rooms that you can be able to use if you don't want to use the laundry services that we offer. Enclosed courtyard porches, sitting areas, cable, really a lot more social interaction that we offer in assisted living, especially having somebody always on the floor. Like we said, the full common amenities are there, maintenance assistance, home health is an option as well if you need additional on top of it. And then all the Oak Park amenities are offered. Now the big one that I've been asked a couple times, what does the rates look like? So a studio month is about $5,020, or it is. One bedroom suite is for one person is $6,165. And a one bedroom suite with a couple is $10,284. Now I want you to understand like those costs, but a lot of other assisted livings, they put on additional charges, such what we call a level of care, like where I came from. What you will see is that here's a base rate, and then they will look at what level you're at and say, well, you're level 3 and charge a certain amount of money on top of that. We don't have that, it's just a flat rate right across the board. So you're not seeing that what we call a level of care for and what we at other assisted living. So when you look at assisted livings, there's sometimes a price differences with that. And if you need additional showers or there's no additional costs associated with that. Does that make sense? Different types of payer sources, private pay. We have accept aid in attendance. If you ever served or your loved one served, we can kind of work with you and know somebody that for the aid in attendance program. We also take long-term care insurance, and we'll touch upon that briefly, kind of what the benefit triggers are of that at the end of the presentation for long-term care insurance. And then just some of the insurances, long-term care insurance that we'll take. okay? That was a quick overview of Oakview Suites. Now, Majestic Oaks. So I want to kind of address and just explain that the statistics here are pretty amazing, that we're the number 2 in the state of Florida for nursing home rank. And we are actually tied in number 2 in the nation for our nursing home care overall. So real strong statistics, and we'll touch upon those shortly. But just quickly, demographics in nursing home. There's 15,600 nursing homes nationwide. In the state of Florida, there's 698. A couple years ago, there was about 20, 30 more that kind of started closing as time went on. We've seen it, especially with the strains with COVID and staffing and other areas like that. We've kind of seen a little bit of tick where people are getting rid of beds or getting rid of nursing homes entirely. Of those 15,000 nursing homes, there's 1.4 million residents residing in those, and they expect it to double. Now, we're expecting to see higher acuity nursing home residents as time goes on. So instead of them going to a hospital or whatever the case is, we'll be taking care of them in the nursing home. But on the other side of it, for rehab services, we're seeing majority of outpatients going home. We're seeing it where there's a much more movement to going home quicker as we see our facility. And the care 10 years ago provided for acuity level is different than what it is now. We see much higher acuity level in nursing homes. 83% of all residents in nationwide is over the age of 65. So it's actually, we're seeing younger people moving into our nursing home. Not ours, but other nursing homes. And of anybody over the age of 65, 70% of people will have a nursing home stay in their life. And the average is about 1 male to 3 females in a nursing home. Majestic Oaks is about the 4-to-1 ratio still, and 65% of our residents are above the age of 85. So quite a bit of residents above the age of 85. Our ratio is 1-to-4, so we have a couple more females, and they seem to live longer too here. And 150 bed nursing home is about 100,000 square feet. So it's a very large nursing home, and it's a very spacious nursing home. 114 private rooms and 18 semi-private rooms. So majority of the rooms are private rooms. I will stress this, our semi-private rooms are really the same size as our private rooms, but they share a bathroom with a shower in it. And every single private room and semi-private room, they share the bathroom. A lot of places in other nursing homes, you actually have to go down a hallway to take a shower or a bath, or every single room has its own shower in it. So it's nice, so you're not going down a hallway, you're not going to other areas when you're receiving a shower, especially when you're probably at the most vulnerable. You can do it in your own bedroom. Currently, right now, we have 2 of the hallways closed. We'll be opening them up, hopefully after we go through, go through possible renovations, going through. We have 45 of our 150 beds are designated memory care. So we have a large memory care area. So about 3 hallways with an additional secured unit. So one of our wings is has a little bit more security options on it. So we have probably one of the largest memory care nursing home sections in the greater Orlando area. Majestic Oaks services. So we provide rehabilitation services, which we'll touch upon in a couple slides. 24-hour nursing supervision, assistance with ADLs, medication management, our dietary services. So we offer a lot of specialized diets and also therapeutic meals and also mechanical options and pureed options for food services. Recreational and social services, level of care, and complete bathrooms and showers, which is, for me, is a big selling point, is having those abilities in your own room. Additional service provided in-house, just to kind of go over it. We have a medical director oversight by the physician, which we can call 24/7 and just practice. So there's always a physician on call. Dermatology service, podiatry service, wound care physician, and we have a wound care nurse, psychologist, psychiatrist services, dental services. We can do x-ray and lab work and stat orders. So if you ever need those services while you're there, we can get it done within an hour majority of the time. We do our own swallow studies, vision services, hearing services, and consult the pharmacist, to kind of name a few. So it's really kind of goes back to that basis, is we want to try to keep the residents in-house as best as possible. We don't want them to go everywhere else, especially with COVID happened. We want to try to keep all the services, but we contract with a lot of services to keep everything in-house as best of our abilities. There's something there. I don't know why it's not popping up. All right, we'll just keep on moving forward. Oh, there you go. Okay. I don't know what happened there. So, so this is kind of the services. If you're going for rehab service, we have PT, OT, ST, and a lot of additional services, but you will see what falls under the PT, OT, and ST services. I'm not going to read through all of them. But if you were going to the nursing home for rehab services, or if you were going to go to the assisted living, or you're at home for home health, these are kind of who you would contact and what services will be provided if you need something. If you have issues with dressing, or you can't get your arms above to help you get dressed, you might want to contact OT services, occupational services. So what a normal rehab stay looks like for therapy services is this. So majority of our admissions, if you were going to come from a hospital to a nursing home, majority of our admissions come later in the evening. So it'd be probably around 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock at night when the doctor's discharge. That's when we see a lot of our admissions, is more in the evening time. So we're not going to start therapy on that first day a lot of times, because you're just getting there, you're getting situated, hopefully get a meal in you, feel comfortable. On the second day, we'll be doing evaluations with the PT, OT, and speech. And you might not need all of those services, but they might need 2 out of 3, or maybe possibly all 3. And then day 3 on moving forward, you would have 30 to 60 minutes per practice until you get to your goal set. And once you kind of get to that where we think the goals are set, we do what we call a home evaluation 3 days prior, at least 3 days prior to that time, where we would kind of assess you at your home. Do you have additional steps that we don't know about? Do we need to work on getting up steps? Is there rugs that we need to move? Do you need additional grab bars in your bathrooms or wherever it's located? Do you need durable medical equipment in your house that we can get ordered and make sure it's there before you arrive home? And then we'll give you a 3-day cut letter. We'll just say, hey, these are the benefits are ending. You can always dispute that, or you feel like you need additional care. You can always go through that. And then we would discharge home with possibly home health therapy or with outpatient therapy services where you would come to. So that's kind of a normal stay when you're receiving rehab services in the nursing home for rehab. All right, so I'm going to talk about the star ratings and staffing and everything associated with this. This is a lot, and I can spend a lot of time with it, but it's going to be a quick overview because I don't think you want to stay here for a couple hours. But this is our star rating, and it's important. So Nursing Home Compare is the website for CMS, and that's where you can kind of judge other nursing homes across the nation, and where you can get some of this information as well. And I believe it's My Florida is the Agency of Healthcare Administration will give you the star ratings for their point of view for level of care. So CMS overall inspection for Majestic Oaks is a 5-star, with health inspections being a 5-star, staffing a 5-star, and quality measures as a 4-star. We'll touch upon that quickly. In the Agency of Healthcare Administration, we are a 5-star across the board besides administration, and that has to do with one of the tags and a little bit of the turnover of administrators recently. So our history over the last couple of years for regulatory, we've actually, so when a state comes in, the Agency of Healthcare Administration comes in to do their surveys, they do what we call annual surveys, they do complaint surveys, they might do life safety surveys, they might do infection control surveys. There's a lot of surveys they come and they make sure that they are overseeing and making sure we're in regulatory compliance. Over the little over last year. We received our annual survey in January, and there was no state or federal findings at all. And then we received in February of last year a complaint survey, which was a issue regarding personal care assistant records, and we cleared on a desk review. And in November, we had a complaint survey with no findings. So overall, real clean survey history over the last year. We also had an infection control survey unannounced with no findings. We also had a federal oversight survey for our infection control program with no findings, and we plan our survey window to open up back again in September 2023. But the Agency of Healthcare Administration gives you no warning. They can just show whenever they would like, which is how you would want it to be to make sure that they're always on their toes and that you're providing the greatest care. We also participate in Joint Commission as well. We had them come out this past year, and we've had a very good survey with the Joint Commission. And we had limited findings, and we cleared on the first go-around, and we expect them to be due back next year. Department of Health, we've had 2 visits from infection control point with no significant findings, just recommendations. Annual pharmacy, annual biomedical waste, and the group care licensors have no deficiencies or any issues cited. So how it works is our survey, how you see how it works out. It's just a quick overview. It's weighted on a point system. You can do the math if you like. But lower number is better number, how it works out. So when you look at the overall health inspection, you'll find over the last year we had 0 points. 2 years ago we had how the weighted points, it was 4 points, but remember it's 1/3 of those points is how the system works out. It comes out to 1.32. And then 3 years ago we had a total of 8 points from one survey. We had 2 deficiencies, and that equals 8 points. So our overall weighted was 2.6, and you can see a 5-star is under 10 points, and we do a much better job than those 5-star. We're way higher than, or way lower with points of what is needed, and we're not even close. So if you look at 3-star, a 3-star building would be from 37 to 22 points weighted. So we're doing very well. Our staffing is measured on RN, LPN, and CNAs added together compared to the state, and then also they put a lot of weight in what we call our RN staffing ratio. And this is what our staffing ratios look like overall in comparison. If you look down, you'll see the national averages versus the Florida averages compared to what Majestic Oaks does. So if you add in the RN, LPN, and CNAs all together, you'll see Majestic Oaks averages over 4 hours and 38 minutes per resident of care per day, compared to the national average of 3 hours and 45 minutes. So almost a whole other hour additional of care provided. And they are also measuring our weekend hours now as well. You can see, by the way, our RN hours is much higher as well, about 15 minutes more per resident. But they're also measuring our weekend hours, and they're also going to start measuring turnover, which we do much higher, or we do much lower in our turnover rate, which will be a 5-star in our turnover rate. And they're also going to start looking at the weigh in the weekend hours with the turnover hours all together into our 5-star rating for our staffing. Now, CMS also measures our quality measures, and quality measures are kind of what our residents and what we put in what we call MDSs, so they're kind of medical data sets. It's what we do assessments of what their care is and what we're providing. And these are all the measurements that they take in consideration, like short-term measures of our residents that are here for short-term rehab. Our measures are a 5-star, and you can see all of those. And then we have our long-term measures that we currently are a 4-star. We're going to try to get to a 5-star. But they measure all of these type of things, like how many catheters do we have, how many pressure ulcers, and so forth like that. So they really kind of measure what those are, and both of those, and then they weigh them together. So even though our short term is 5 stars and our long term is 4 stars, it's because it's weighted, we're just under that 5-star ratio to be a 5-star facility in quality measures. And what we have is what we call QAPI, which is Quality Assurance Performance Improvement. Our performance improvement plans, we have to be able to address those concerns and hopefully get us to the 5-star. So talking about cost. So healthcare center, private pay, so outside community, is $345 a day for cost, and for rehab, it's $533 a day. For life care residents or contract here, it's your monthly fee and $62 a day. And that kind of goes over the additional care and the meals added on to that is for the long-term stays, pretty much is what you're looking at for the cost. And if your resident is in a memory care center, because of the additional services and options and additional staffing there, it is an additional $79 for semi-private and $110 for a private room. Now, here's our contracts for if you have insurance and so forth like that. This is, we'll talk about Medicare shortly, but just going over, you'll see in-network and out-of-network. For example, like Aetna says out-of-network. I want you to be sure if you have Aetna, we still can provide care for you at Majestic Oaks, especially coming for rehab services. It does not mean it. Because you live in this community, there's a clause where if you live in your home-like environment in a CCRC, we can still contract with them. So we will go work with them and get a contract, so an authorization for you to come for your services. So just because it says out of network does not mean you cannot come to Majestic Oaks. I will say we do see in a lot of these companies, if you're out of network, they might tell you to go to you can go to other facilities. No, you can come to Majestic Oaks, and they might also try to say to send you home. You know, if you really need rehab care, you should come still, and we can work with these groups to be able to make sure that you come to Majestic Oaks for rehab services. Now, we hear a lot about Medicare, and a lot of the hospitals will say, or people will say, like, you have 100 days of coverage under Medicare. Well, I want to preface and say that if eligible, Medicare has some guidelines that we follow to make sure that you have your stay there, but you're not just, hey, you're gonna there for 100 days. It kind of goes into, like, you have to be eligible, like you have to meet certain criteria, like ADLs and so forth, to be able to be under Medicare guidelines. So the first 1 through 20 days at a nursing home, you are 100% coverage. There's no cost associated with under Medicare, but day 21 through 100, there is a copay of $200 a day if you go past that day. We see a lot of residents, you know, their goals for to meet these goals in 20 days, and that's kind of associated with the Medicare cost going in there. Now, if you go into a nursing home for a period of time and you don't go to a hospital, after 60 days, you will reset your 100 days again, if that makes sense. So if you don't go back to the nursing home, like say you were discharged from the nursing home, after 60 days, it will reset for you. So if you have say you have a knee replacement, you need another knee replacement, you can go there. A couple months later, you can do another knee replacement and it will reset for your days, okay? Now, Medicare Advantage plan, every plan is different, and I can't really, you gotta find what is right for you if you're looking at a Medicare Advantage plan, and you gotta make sure that those aspects that you pick is right for you. Now, one second. They will, tell you and everything, but there's benefits to everything. But for a nursing home side, you should look into what benefits you get for your nursing home if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, because that cost will come at one point. Now, in network, our care is a little different. So they try to direct care inside of a nursing home. And what I mean by that is if you go in a nursing home for rehabilitation services under this plan, we normally have to send all your records to them maybe once, twice, maybe even 3 times a week. And they will depict care and say, hey, this person met this criteria, they should be able to go home. But they don't take in consideration maybe other comorbidities that you have. They're just looking at the base guidelines of that. So we do work with the insurance companies to make sure that they meet these goals and so forth, but they will try just to cut as soon as possible because obviously it costs them money to be inside a nursing home. Now, out of network, it all depends when they're out of network. it may start immediately, the co-pays. We work with them. They'll try to send to other facilities or other, like I said, other nursing homes, or try to say you can't come. You can definitely come still to their nursing home and receive care, okay? Long-term care, it's kind of a quick overview of it, but just for understand, we have what we call benefit triggers. So a representative from a long-term care insurance they would majority of the time send a nursing home, a nurse, a social service, or one of their own employees. But we have seen them start sending out or asking our own employees to fill them out sometimes. But they do an assessment to make sure you meet these certain criteria. The criteria is really for long-term care is pretty standard. It's you need help with 2 of the 6 ADLs, or you have a cognitive impairment, and so that you need to go to assisted living with a memory support, or you need to go into the nursing home with memory support. But the 6 ADLs, you would need help with 2 of these, and that the ADLs are on your right-hand side, which was bathing, dressing, toileting, transfers, eating, and continence help. So those are the kind of the 6 factors that you would look at, and you would need assistance with 2 of those, or have a cognitive impairment. Now, we also have what we call an elimination period. So elimination period is kind of like almost like a deductible, but measured in time. So every insurance company is different, but elimination period is like a certain amount of time it requires for your plan to kick in. So it might be 30, 60, 90, 180, or even a year, depending on what your plan that is chosen. And during that elimination period, a lot of the plans, not all of them, will require you to already be receiving that care. So if you moved into assisted living, you might have to meet an elimination period of 30 days before your plan kicks in while you're still living at that community. And every policy pays it out different. Pays it out immediate, might have elimination period, or they might pay in full. It all depends on the program. But that's kind of a quick overview of long-term care insurance benefits. And I'm sure you have questions. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi. On the rating of number 2 in the state of Florida and number 2 nationwide, what agency is doing that rating, and how political is it?
Okay, well, that's a great question. So what they're measuring is all the statistics that send out. That is probably news press that kind of puts out that rating system where they measure all like the health inspections. They put all that data together, your overall scores and so forth like that. That's from that area.
It's Statistica.
Yeah, statistics from the data they're pulling from each facility. Yes.
Thank you for a very interesting presentation. Will all of the slide information be posted online at the portal for us to review it there?
Yes. Well, if you have any more questions and you would like to meet with me, I'm more than happy to meet. It's a pleasure to spend time with you today. And if you want to dive in further, the administrator over at Oakview Suites is Angie. Her extension is 1500. She'd be more than happy if you would like a tour or discuss further, or with myself. My extension is 1032. Or the administrator over at Majestic Oaks is Megan Pilko, and her extension is 2400. We also have an admissions person over here that just deals with a lot of admissions. So if you ever have questions, or you have a planned procedure, or you have a planned, where you think you need rehab services, you can always line that up as well with Lucia over at Majestic Oaks. Yes, of course. Oh, sorry. Breathing in it.
Thanks. I'm back to assisted living.
Yes.
What is the training that, you mentioned that one worker has eight patients. We'll call them patients. What is their training? What is their background?
Well, so we have different workers there. So we have what we call PCA, which is personal care attendant. We also have what we call personal care attendants that are MedTech certified, that they have to do special certificates and classes to be able to pass medications or observe medications and help pass it out. We also have CNAs that attend CNA classes, and we also have licensed nurses as well. And
You have what as well?
licensed nurses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. And we have also what we call a resident care coordinator, like a director of nursing overall, the director of nursing, and that's Evelyn. So, and then we have programs and educations. We also have online educations, what we use through Relias for training as well. We also send staff members out. We also have educators come in and provide additional services. Like we have our ECC license. You need a certain amount of hours per year to meet that criteria in the state. So we also have, what does ECC represent? What does it cover? What are you supposed to do? Documentation and so forth for the staff member.
A lot of work, a lot of effort.
Yeah.
It's impressive listening, and thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I've heard 2 items. Number one, if someone is a resident of assisted living, they are allowed to go out and walk around mainly the center, or they can leave anytime they want. And 2, they cannot leave unless somebody signs them in and out.
So they need to sign in and out through a leave of absence book. And they need to notify the nurse. Now, there's some residents we need to make sure possibly might not go out depending on the resident, but a resident can sign themselves out and go to other areas. We have also had in the past residents that maybe drive and still in assisted living as well. So we need to know if they're going and driving and so forth like that. But the assisted living kind of look is we're trying to help with your assistance in life. We're not trying to take anything away from you. We're trying to improve it and give the further assistance that you need to be successful. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Make sure I don't fall off the stage, huh?
Would you explain the process of getting into Majestic Oaks? Who makes the decision that a resident should move into Majestic Oaks?
So I would just kind of answer this, and from what I understand, it's like if a resident in the community it feels that they need to move into Majestic Oaks, is that right? So kind of how we look at it is that we have what we call a life care team or committee, and we monitor those residents as a committee, and we talk, discuss, do they need additional services? Our goal is to obviously try to provide as much independence as possible for the residents. So we look at a resident, go, do they need rehab services? We see them walking around, do they need additional gate support? We recommend therapy services. But overall, it's a team decision, and we discuss it, and then kind of we'll go to the resident and try to let them understand that, hey, it might be time to go look at Oakview Suites. It might be time to go look at Majestic Oaks, depending on the situation. I hope I answered that question. All right. Well, if you ever have any questions, feel free to stop by. It was a pleasure today.